12-ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120ZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sportsbook. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Get into. Let's start off with the Tennessee Titans upsetting the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football 34-31. The question I had heading into the show is, are the Tennessee Titans legitimate Super Bowl contenders after the win? Let's hold off the brakes. Let's not be recency bias. Now, the Tennessee Titans are one of those teams in the NFL that will play up to their competition, and they will also play down to their competition. Remember a couple of weeks ago when the Tennessee Titans lost the Jets, like, oh, typical Titans, they stink from the S to the K. But then yet they could beat the Buffalo Bills. Go figure, right? One of the key plays in that game, on a 4th down, 34-31, the right call by Sean McDermott to go for it, but it didn't fall, was Jeffrey Simmons blew up the play, tackled Josh Allen, did not get it. You don't kick the field goal there. You're not going to stop Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's the RB of the Tennessee Titans, and he's just a complete monster in the backfield as he goes, the Tennessee Titans go. That offense is, no matter how good Ryan Tannehill is, it's always a Derrick Henry offense. This is a championship caliber offense because you have Ryan Tannehill, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown. What's not championship caliber about this team is that the defense is kind of a little bit suspect. Caleb Farley tears his ACL, and other defensive backs are out of position. Janoris Jenkins, Jackrabbit hasn't exactly looked sharp. But let's also not pretend, Michael Carvallis, that the Buffalo Bills are suddenly this overrated football team, which they're not. It's a game. Their defense got shelled. It happens. It's an outlier. It happens. It's the NFL. And they say any given Thursday, any given Saturday, Sunday, and any given Monday night. That's how the NFL usually works, no matter how good or bad you are. I picked the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. Early on in the year, kind of looked great, and I thought Buffalo was the best team in the AFC. We'll see how my power rankings look much later on this show. The Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, they're still going to win that division. They're still a Super Bowl threat. And for all you clowns out there that think Buffalo all of a sudden is not a Super Bowl caliber team, go home, you're drunk. Okay? The Tennessee Titans is going to be one of those teams in the playoffs in the AFC just like 2 years ago. It's going to be that upset wild card. Remember when they beat the New England Patriots on the road, then beat the number 1 seed Lamar Jackson in the second round, almost had the Kansas City Chiefs on the ropes, and had they not given up that touchdown pass to Mahomes, who the heck knows what happened. But this team can play with anyone offensively. And they will be challenged this week against Kansas City Chiefs. If the Tennessee Titans beat the Kansas City Chiefs, look out, NFL. The Tennessee Titans are here. And I think they're one of the best teams in the AFC already. They're a bad defense, but they don't break. Want to talk about how good Jeffrey Simmons is? And happened to be that I mentioned Jeffrey Simmons and the 615, the Nashville, Tennessee area code on my live thing appears to come across my screen here. I was really going to do one of them yeehaw moments, welcome to Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm not going to do that. If they're going to get a consistent pass rush from Harold Landry and Bud Dupree and all the other guys, that might be enough to get them to the Super Bowl. Because that offense is going to score points. And as long as they keep their offensive identity and not become some fraudulent pass-first team, they'll be fine. And I do like Ryan Tannehill. And I do like the fact how he can lead his team and come back in games. I do like the fact he makes more right decisions than wrong. It's just for some odd reason, because you have Derrick Henry in the backfield, that this is a run-first offensive team. That's all it is. And Mike Vrabel's a very good head coach. And so is Doug McDermott on the other side. It's a 34-31 game. And Henry has scored his 13-yard rushing touchdown game winning with 3:10 left in regulation. Also busted a 76-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. Lastly, A.J. Brown didn't have a single catch in the first half. He didn't. And in the second half, he had a lot of catches and a lot of yardage. And he was dealt with food poisoning. Had to go under all these IVs and stuff. And A.J. Brown's like, I ain't even eating, fast food ever again. So that's where I leave it off with Ryan Tannehill, Tennessee Titans, and Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. All right, before I get into this Ben Simmons saga, before I was live on this show today, I would like to thank Michael Crazy Carvalis for inviting me on to the AM Drive with him this morning. He was by himself. There was no Aaron. So I was talking some NHL, NBA, and NFL. And one of the NFL moments I want to quickly talk about here, it's Deshaun Watson being rumored to be traded to the Miami Dolphins. This is not an accident that the same week the Miami Dolphins lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, that this stuff is being leaked. I know owner Steve Ross, head coach Brian Flores does not want Tua Tagovailoa. General manager Chris Greer was the one that wanted Tua Tagovailoa. And when I said that they should have drafted Justin Herbert, I happen to get a random guest caller the other day, Matt from Florida, who came onto the show, wanted to say to me how wrong I was about thinking that Tua is not the problem with the Miami Dolphins, where he's not the solution, and he is the problem with the Miami Dolphins. If they had an actual legitimate franchise quarterback, they would not be a 1-5 football team. Their defense is getting worn down because of it. He's throwing short of first downs because of it. Don't give me this. Maybe it's because the coaches don't trust him. Not saying they're not trying to set him up to fail, but then I said this on AM Drive, that Tua Tagovailoa is the next bust, the next Josh Rosen. Yes, I said it. and the Washington football team and the Denver Broncos were also rumored for Tua Tagovailoa. Say what you want about Deshaun Watson's off the field issues. I get it. I know some male and female sports reporters aren't exactly thrilled with these rumors, and I can understand that in the Miami area, the 305. I understand that. But from a football perspective, Deshaun Watson makes them into a Super Bowl contender next year, not this year, because I think it's too late in the game for the Miami Dolphins to be a playoff team this year. And I know it's week 7, we have an extra week. But I don't think it bodes well for the Miami Dolphins. All right, let's get to the next segment here. The Ben Simmons saga with the Philadelphia 76ers. So Ben Simmons was suspended 1 game last night by the Philadelphia 76ers because of a lack of professionalism and integrity by Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid does not care about him anymore and said that he doesn't want to babysit him. Ben Simmons needs to be traded ASAP by Philadelphia. Head coach Doc Rivers got on Ben Simmons in practice. He basically got him like, dude, he's defensive Joe Simmons, like, nah, screw you. Basically gave him the middle finger. And also, President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey needs to consider these trades for Ben Simmons. So I decided to come up with these 5 trades here and how I think it makes sense. Trade number 1. As I've said, Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving. The Brooklyn Nets get their defense. Kyrie Irving doesn't have to worry about the New York coronavirus vaccination mandates in New York, and they don't have that in Philadelphia when it comes to playing basketball. Number 2, Ben Simmons for Kevin Love and Colin Sexton on Cleveland Cavaliers, and possibly a draft pick. I mentioned this on the show, not my show, but just on the AM Drive, that I think that you get a scorer with Colin Sexton. Cleveland is having problems. Potentially a contract extension. They're not going to be good anyways this year. They haven't had a great guy since LeBron James. Now, I know Ben Simmons may not be the guy Cleveland wants, but I think they need a wing defender. Isaac Okoro is the only good defensive player they have. They do have scoring, even if you get rid of Colin Sexton. That's not their problem. They need defense, and they certainly lack it. And in order to play in to be successful as a team in today's NBA, you need a wing defender. The Cleveland Cavaliers have none of it. Kevin Love, it creates cap. It's good for the cap. And Colin Sexton, a nice young scorer and a draft pick. Ben Simmons for Caris LeVert and Malcolm Brogdon. Caris LeVert is a guy that could take over a game. A much better scorer than Ben Simmons. Malcolm Brogdon is the defensive player that Ben Simmons is. And you could probably move off of them. Did you watch Chris Duarte last night for the Indiana Pacers? Did you see how good this rookie balled? I mean, this guy is going to be a potential star in this league. The NBA's got a lot of young stars in the league, and I think the league's in better hands here than we anticipated. Well, number 4, Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal. I don't think the Washington Wizards would consider it. And number 5, I don't think this would happen, but something to consider. I don't think the Denver Nuggets would do it. But Ben Simmons for Jamal Murray, that's just another thing to keep an eye on. So, that's what I think here. Now let's get to the NBA opening night game recaps. I am so happy that the NBA on TNT is back for the 2021-2022 NBA regular season. It feels great seeing Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Ernie Johnson on TNT. That pregame studio in Atlanta, Georgia is fantastic, but on Tuesday night they were outside the Staples Center, Los Angeles, California. The NBA on TNT music was so amazing, and it was playing in my head all game long when the games were going on and all night long when I went to sleep. I'm just so happy it's back. This is also the 75th season of the NBA here as well. Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks NBA game recap. So the Milwaukee Bucks took down the Brooklyn Nets 127-104. And once again, Giannis Antetokounmpo bully balls the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, this guy just continues to dominate with over 30-point games. He finished with 32. I mean, he is the most dominant player in the NBA. He's the best player in the world right now. And this team is just has cohesion. They're cohesive. They just have great chemistry. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to be extremely tough to beat in the East. Now that they have won a championship, all the pressure's off of them. They just go out, have fun, play basketball. And anything, I know deep down they want to win another championship. But can we be realistic with all the expectations guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron have? It's just house money for them at this point with the Milwaukee Bucks. And that ring ceremony was fantastic. Chris Middleton played pretty decently. Jrue Holiday had a heel injury, but he'll be okay. And a guy that Milwaukee supposedly likes this year is Jordan Nwora off the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. And Kevin Durant and James Harden were fine, but there seems to be no defensive presence. Nick Claxton was bullied. Blake Griffin, Joe Harris, I mean, they have no defensive identity. Kyrie Irving, who knows when if he's going to return. So I mentioned they should trade him for Ben Simmons, but I don't know with this whole coronavirus vaccination nonsense. So we'll see how it goes. And is Steve Nash really a coach, or is he just a puppet for Kevin Durant and general manager Sean Marks? Also, Mike Budenholzer. Now all the critics could back off of him for now. Now let's get into the next one here. The Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Steph Curry, a 21 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double. Now I was not expecting that. Steph Curry is one of the premier point guards in the NBA. Struggled to shoot, but the Golden State Warriors' depth is a lot better than it probably has been the last few years. Klay Thompson's probably not going to be back until at least January. I don't understand what's taking so long with these injuries. So you had some nice contributions from Jordan Poole. I don't know why they still employ Andrew Wiggins. He stinks from the SDK. I mean, I simply don't get it. Why is Andrew Wiggins? I don't think he's that good. He's just there for cap reasons right now. Maybe they'll try and trade him. They also didn't have James Wiseman the other night. Someone also brought this up last night on Twitter. Could you imagine if the Golden State Warriors drafted LaMelo Ball instead of James Wiseman, number 2 overall? But I don't think the fit would have really worked because you already had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But on the other side, I was not surprised LeBron James had a double-double for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he's the RP Arsenal of the Los Angeles Lakers. And he basically told Russell Westbrook, calm down, he had a bad game. So the question here, is Russell Westbrook going to cost the Los Angeles Lakers? And it's an obvious answer, yes. LeBron James and Anthony Davis both had over 30 points. Russell Westbrook is an absolute terrible fit. Needs to have the ball in his hands. He's not a three-point shooter. The only good thing about this for Russell Westbrook is that he's back home in Los Angeles playing at UCLA. Want to also know also played at UCLA with him? Kevin Love and Jrue Holiday. That two played with him at UCLA. Russell Westbrook is going to be the reason why this team doesn't win a championship. I mean, other players seem to get statistically worse with him. No wonder why Kevin Durant left him. James Harden has been good too without him. Victor Oladipo got better without Russell Westbrook. Domantas Sabonis got better without Russell Westbrook. I mean, this is not statistically false here. This is actual statistically factual. And remember, Colin Cowherd showing this like a year or two ago, and the same thing went for Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. So, the better fit, the Los Angeles Lakers traded for the wrong player on the Washington Wizards. They should have traded for Bradley Beal, spot-up shooter. You know what I said they should have brought up? They should have traded for him, a Buddy Hield. That's another player they should have traded for on the Sacramento Kings. Doesn't make sense. They're going to be with size and defense. That's what Frank Vogel's system is, the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. I just like that system. And as for the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr's system, I saw on Instagram yesterday, he was talking to the Golden State media, and he's like, yeah, we got some pretty good bench depth pieces. Remember when they won 2014-2015 NBA championship? They had Leandro Barbosa, Mo Spates, and Sean Livingston. That team was pretty deep. Great ball movement. That was the first year of 5 consecutive years. The Golden State Warriors went to the NBA Finals and won 3 championships. And that was because of courtesy of great drafting by general manager Bob Myers. Maybe it would be good for the NBA to see the Golden State Warriors go on one last maybe championship run before the days of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green as that core behind us. And all 3 of them, all their jerseys will be hanged in the rafters one day at the Chase Center. It is going to be. Because by far this was the best stretch in Golden State Warriors history, and you cannot debate that. And it's been overshadowed because I've been Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Yeah, we got 1 out of it out of 4 against them, but they say one's better than none. But from a basketball standpoint, it's great when the Golden State Warriors are good. Now it's for the Los Angeles Lakers. They'll be fine. They'll probably be a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. I had them as a number 2 seed this year in the West. It's a long year. It's an 82-game season. We'll see if the Lakers decide to low manage. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. Now, before I get into my next segment here, go on to support my show or my articles, go to 12ouncesportsradio.com/BetUS. Again, that's 12ouncesportsradio.com/BetUS. We are live on 12 Ounce Sports, Quenching Sports Thirst. Glenn's Dynamic Sports Coach. You can follow me on Twitter at GlennKaplan13. I'd like to thank Jamie Beck, Cody Jensen, Lou Gamblin, Philly Pete, Michael Crazy Carvallis. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, it is not 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The time has been changed to noon Eastern Time tomorrow for 12 Ounce Sports War. Ladies and gentlemen, you better tune in to that tomorrow. There will be a special surprise at the beginning of tomorrow's show. So you don't want to miss out what the surprise is that I have for Michael Carvallis tomorrow. And he sent out a video last week that he is, quote-unquote, going to put up 40 points on me this week. And he said he's going to end this bull jive while I call BS to that. You better believe, you better know what's coming at you tomorrow, because this is going to be a great and fun time tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it. Also, big thanks to Mitch Bernstein for his great baseball content as usual. I hope you're enjoying the MLB postseason. And speaking of the MLB postseason, I don't have anything NHL today, but as for the MLB postseason, the Atlanta Braves have a 3-1 series lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, this is for the 2nd consecutive year. Justin Turner has a grade 2 hamstring. He is done for the rest of postseason. Can the Los Angeles Dodgers come back from a 3-1 series deficit this time around? It's hard to go back-to-back. We'll see about that. And as for the ALCS, the Houston Astros are up 3-2 on the Boston Red Sox. And Game 6 will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. And tonight, 8:08 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS with the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we'll see how that goes. But we'll see. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen when the World Series comes. And lastly, before I jump into the NFL, hashtag robot umpires now. The Boston Red Sox are losing this series because of a momentum changer. There are 2 outs in Game 4 in the top of the 9th. Houston-Boston was tied at 2. Should have been a strike 3. Houston scores a lot of runs top of the 9th. Boston has barely scored any runs since. Houston's on a roll. And it's really derailed the Boston Red Sox. I got a text from a Boston Red Sox fan this morning saying he agrees with me about the hashtag RobotOpsNow. I mean, this sport, you know what I said on my Twitter account? Sports that I like. Number 1, the NFL. Number 2, the NHL. Number 3 is the NBA. And number 4, or really 1,000, the MLB. This sport needs to go to robot umpires immediately. Enough is enough. I debated this on last Friday's Thought on Sports War with our great and awesome special guest host who would easily derail Michael Grace Carvalho in a sports war. Ryan Leschko did an absolutely and wonderful job, and I can't wait to have him back again on the network sometime soon. Also, before I get in the NFL, I forgot to say this. If you would like to call in the show, 347-831-1945. Again, 347-831-1945. I am live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time / 8 a.m. Pacific. I'm live on Twitter, YouTube, and also only on 12 Ounce Sports TV and Zingle TV channel 761. There we go. I also said the sport of baseball is so flawed that if you think the sport is better than hockey, go get drug tested immediately here as well. That's what I said on my Twitter the other day. All right, NFL Week 7 preview. I went 10-4 with my picks last week, my best of the year so far. So far this season, my record is 55-39. So there will be 6 teams on a bye this week. They are the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So those are the 6 teams that will be on a bye this week. And on paper, I saw the matchups this week. I'm like, gee golly, this by far could be the worst of these matchups, like on paper so far this year. Let's start with tonight's game. The Denver Broncos versus the Cleveland Browns. So, no Baker Mayfield at quarterback. He's got a shoulder injury. Case Keenum will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, no Nick Chubb and no Kareem Hunt. Ernest Johnson and Demetric Felton will be probably your primary running backs tonight. I picked up Ernest Johnson off my waiver wire. So I have him on my fantasy team. I'm 1-5. It stinks from the SDK. It's so bad. But from a game standpoint, the Cleveland Browns will look to stay with its true identity. And even though they have all these injuries, they're still a lot better than the Denver Broncos are. And if Teddy Bridgewater can't play tonight, it'll be Drew Lock. That's really bad. The Broncos started 3-0. But it was really a product of who they played when it was the New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the New York Jets. And Vic Fangio might be potentially on the hot seat. Kevin Stefanski isn't. This is going to be a real ugly Thursday night football game. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns over the Denver Broncos 17-14. Next up, the game of the week. I have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens in an AFC North showdown. Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, and we'll really see what both of these teams are made of. The winner of this game will take over first place in the AFC North. 4-2 Cincinnati, 5-1 Baltimore. And I think Cincinnati's getting a lot better. As I've said, they're not a pushover. They are 1-0 in the division. The Baltimore Ravens, this is their first divisional game. And as they say, anything goes in these AFC matchups. The Ravens have had success recently against the Cincinnati Bengals ever since Andy Dalton threw that touchdown pass to Tyler Boyd that knocked him out of the playoffs a few years ago. So, as they say, any given Sunday. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a lot better on defense than people give them credit to be. The Baltimore Ravens defense is very good too. There was something earlier in the year that the Bengals were playing a team, and Joe Burrow recognized the blitz. Want to know something? Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against the blitz this year, and that's what the Baltimore Ravens like to do a lot. However, I think at some point the offensive line will not handle it for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens just have a little bit more talent. This game will be close. It will not be an easy game. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens over the Cincinnati Bengals, 23-17. Upset special of the week. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Miami Dolphins. Now, is it an upset? Kind of, because I think even though the Miami Dolphins are 1-5, they're better on paper than the Atlanta Falcons, who are what? 2-3? And the Atlanta Falcons beat what? The New York Giants, New York Jets. Congratulations. But the reason why the Atlanta is going to seem better than Miami in this one, because I like Matt Ryan a lot better than I like Tua Tagovailoa. That will be the difference in the game. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons over the Miami Dolphins by a final score of 28-21. The blowout of the week, the Houston Texans versus the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, and here's the thing. DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt will be facing their former Houston Texans team, and there's probably the old phrase, no love lost between the two. Because Hopkins basically got traded from the franchise for basically no reason, and it was so dysfunctional and toxic and chaotic in Houston that J.J. Watt was basically granted his release. So now they're 6-0. The Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans are 1-5. They do play hard, but this is a complete utter mismatch. This is going to be like when the Houston Texans played the Buffalo Bills a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals 30-10. It's probably going to be more like 40-10. So we'll see after that 30-10. All right. Carolina Panthers versus the New York Giants. So you have two wild, erratic quarterbacks, turnover-prone guys, and Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. And if you had the Carolina Panthers defense this week in fantasy football, I would advise starting them. Daniel Jones has reverted back to his old ways. He is not a franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. I mean, Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman are not the right head coach, general manager combination. And Matt Rule is going to prove why the New York Giants regret passing up on him as a head coaching opportunity. And he's established his own culture. I know that they started 3-0 and lost their last three, but this is going to be the perfect game that the Carolina Panthers are going to really bounce back. So I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers over the New York Giants. Their defense will be tired again. So by a final score of 28-10. Yeah, I do like this game is going to be ugly. New York Giants defense is going to be on the field all day. Sam Darnold, he goes back to the Meadowlands. This is just going to be something else. Give me it. The Carolina Panthers or New York Giants 28-10. All right, New York Jets versus the New England Patriots. So Mac Jones, I think, is going to finally be unleashed in the New England Patriots playbook. Zach Wilson and Robert from New York want to find out a ways how they can start faster in football games. But unfortunately, New England Patriots aren't going to beat the New York Jets for a second time this year. So give me New England Patriots over the New York Jets by a final score of 28-14. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tennessee Titans. This game is going to be nothing Probably but a bunch of offense. I thought of this as my potential game of the week, but I felt like that I was kind of like, because I don't think Kansas City's a top 10 team at the moment in the NFL right now. They are so flawed defensively, and I think they're going to struggle stopping the run of Derrick Henry, and I think they're going to let Ryan Tannehill have his yards. But I think the Tennessee Titans are probably going to have the same defensive game plan like last week. Make the Kansas City Chiefs play between the 20s, buckle down in the red zone. They only gave up one defensive touchdown really in the red zone. Maybe it was two. But still, they forced them to kick field goals, which was a win. Also, Kansas City Chiefs had the worst rush defense in the NFL. Maybe Derrick Henry goes for 200 yards. Maybe I'll lean to the side more of 100 just to be safe. And I think Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are also going to have a big day. You're also going to see some passes. Maybe you're going to see some read options with Ryan Tannehill, because you also like to see that a lot. What Mike Vrabel, the head coach, cannot possibly do is get cute with the play calling. That goes along with offense coordinator Todd Downing, who has had more good games than bad. And I actually thought that Arthur Smith was going to Arthur Smith leaving. Remember that week 1 debacle against the Arizona Cardinals? And then it took him a quarter and a half. Basically a game and a half excuse me, get the offense figured out. But Tyreek Hill hasn't been the same this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce's been okay lately. And Patrick Mahomes is kind of little. I said it on Mike's show earlier. I think Patrick Mahomes is cocky. He's arrogant. I think he could be an SOB at times. But I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans over the Kansas City Chiefs, 35-31. The Washington football team versus Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers versus Taylor Heineke. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers over the Washington football team 28-14. The Detroit Lions versus Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff is playing against Matthew Stafford for the first time since they got traded from each respective teams. And Dan Campbell is going to be obviously outmatched against Sean McVay. This is going to be a blowout here. Give me the Los Angeles Rams over Detroit Lions. 38-3. I'll have more NFL predictions when I come back from commercial break.
"12 Ounce Sports" has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12 Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sportsbook. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back from commercial break. So let's now get into my next game. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I think that the Vegas Raiders are going to be just fine this Sunday. Derek Carr has basically carried the team on his back this year. Yes. The Raiders go as Derek Carr goes. Remember when John Gruden wanted to run the football first with Josh Jacobs? BS. It's basically non-existent. Why they trying to run things back in the 1980s? And General Manager Mike Mack has a lot of say in the personnel now that John Gruden is gone. The Raiders have a much better team than the Eagles do. The Raiders' front four, I think, is going to cause some problems for the Eagles. And Philadelphia newspapers are going to cause problems. They want Jalen Hurts bench, which I kind of really don't understand. They need to let the kid develop. They have 3 first-round picks. They have their own Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts pick for the Carson Wentz trade. Why would you play Joe Flacco, and why would you play Gardner Minshew II? It honestly doesn't make any sense for me. I'll take the Las Vegas Raiders over the Philadelphia Eagles 31-17. The Chicago Bears versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, the Chicago Bears did beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year on Thursday Night Football. I don't know if do y'all remember that? Where Tom Brady forgot what down it was against Nick Foles, and the whole bitterness of Tom Brady didn't want to shake Nick Foles' hands. But the Chicago Bears defensive front presence, they get a ton of sacks. But they haven't. Justin Fields has not been particularly good this year with Chicago. Whether it's offensive play calling, lack of weapons, offensive line, it could be a ton of variables. So these variables, it's just not seemingly working right now. He's just going through a lot of pain. But I felt like he would have benefited from sitting behind the bench. But the Bears fans, when he played well against the Lions, oh, Justin Fields needs to be starting the entire year. My goodness. No. I think Tom Brady's actually going to struggle in this game. I think this game is going to be closer than people realize. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is actually going to play very well this week. Yeah, they probably have one of the worst secondaries right now, not because of personnel, but because of injury. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Chicago Bears 20-14. Sunday Night Football. The Indianapolis Colts versus the San Francisco 49ers. So, the 49ers on a 3-game losing streak. It looks like coming off the bye, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be starting this week instead of rookie Trey Lance. That's what it looks like. Carson Wentz, it appears as if lately Frank Reich has coached the turnovers out of him, and the Colts have looked better over the last couple of weeks. Jonathan Taylor is probably, even though Carson Wentz will probably be never his old self, Jonathan Taylor is probably the most important player on this team. They don't have any really special wide receivers. But tight end Mo Alley Cox is the player you have to look out for here at tight end. I picked him off on my fantasy waiver wire this week, but he's had some touchdowns over the last couple of weeks. Give me the Indianapolis Colts over the San Francisco 49ers, 27-20. Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks. And I had to also pick up Jameis Winston this week for fantasy football, but I think he's going to air it out against this really bad Seattle Seahawks defense. Geno Smith's not the answer. They've been talking about maybe bringing in Cam Newton. Russell Wilson's probably out again this week because of a finger injury. I'm going to take New Orleans Saints over Seattle Seahawks 35-21. To support my articles or the show, go to 12OutSportsRadio.com/BetUS. I mean Sporting Goods, excuse me. 12OutSportsRadio.com/Sporting Goods. We are live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. You can follow me on Twitter at Glenn Kaplan 13. Also, I am live on Twitter, YouTube, 12 Out Sports TV, and Zingo TV, channel 61. Also, I am live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time /noon Pacific, and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. 8 a.m. Pacific. If you would like to call on this show, and if you have any complaints about anything that I have to say, 347-831-1945. Again, 347-831-1945. So that's what I have. So that's my number to reach me at. All right, let me get into my bold predictions for Week 7 of the NFL season here. Number 1, Matthew Stafford throws for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Los Angeles Rams against his former team, the Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans each put up 400 yards in total offense. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals pulled the starters by the third quarter against the Houston Texans. Number 4, Case Keenum will play more snaps than Baker Mayfield for the Cleveland Browns. And number 5, Daniel Jones will have another 4 turnovers for the New York Giants against the Carolina Panthers. So that's what I have. That's what I have here for my bold predictions for Week 7, of the NFL season. So now, let me get into my top 10 NFL teams for Week number 7. So number 10 is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I like the way they're building that program over there with head coach Zach Taylor. Number 9, the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 8 is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 5, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 4, the Green Bay Packers. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. And number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. So again, number 10, the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 9, the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 8, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans, who play Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Coach. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 5, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 4, the Green Bay Packers. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. And number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. All right, so now I'm on my phone here. I am at the NBA sports gambling site. So the last 2 nights, considering it's the NBA season, I have been doing in each game for a couple of players sports betting props. I was 9-3 on opening night. I was 18-12 last night. So I've actually not been off to a bad start if I were to bet it single-handedly with each of these props. So I am now, oh, you got to be kidding me here. So here are the props. So the only props for some reason that is listed in the mornings, the player props, for some reason doesn't get listed until the afternoon. And I wrote an article where I was just writing these props about, for example, here. So Mavericks to win by 1 to 2 points, a money line plus of 1,100. Mavericks to win by 3 to 6 points plus 600. Mavericks to win by 7 to 9 points plus 1,000. Hawks to win by 1 to 2 points plus 1,100. Hawks to win by 3 to 6 points, 9 plus 550. Hawks to win by 7 to 9 points plus 850. Now there are 2 other games tonight. Actually, the only other one that I see here on the money line for tonight is the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors for some odd reason. So the props here, Clippers to win by 1 or 2 points, 1,100. Clippers to win by 3 to 6 points plus 650. Clippers to win by 7 to 9 points plus 1,100. And then what about the Warriors Warriors to win by 1 or 2 points plus 1,100. Warriors to win by 3 or 6 points plus 550. Warriors to win by 7 or 9 points plus 800. I would really advise not betting on that because I think it's kind of tough. Just hold on here 1 second. So before I get back into this. So, I mean, I'm just very curious to see what kind of player props they're going to be tonight, actually when they release it. I'm very curious to see how these props are going to be in store. I mean, it's fascinating. I'm going to pull up an article I'm going to pull up on the 12 Ounce Sports website right now. I'm going to pull it up, tell you what some of the things that I had for last night. So let me go to last night, what I had. That's what I was from 2 nights ago. So I'm going to try and see if I could go through every single one. Last night, I had Domantas Sabonis over 40.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. Easily got over it. Domantas Sabonis over 11.5 rebounds. I got over it. Malcolm Brogdon over 21.5 points. Didn't look good in the first half, but he was able to reach that plateau. LaMelo Ball over 6.5 assists. He recorded 7 last night. LaMelo Ball, 31.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. Excuse me, I took the over last night. LaMelo Ball, had 31 points, so alone that you know he's going to get other teammates involved. When I saw Terry Rozier was ruled out, I knew that was going to be the case. And then Miles Bridges over 16.5 points. I knew I should have stuck with the under because I had that. That one failed. Next, Jason Tatum over 27.5 points. Did not reach that plateau. That was Jaylen Brown who stole the show with 46. Marcus Smart over 21.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. I got it. And I actually got it at the buzzer that sent actually the game into overtime. Marcus Smart over 3.5 rebounds. I reached that plateau. Julius Randle over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I reached that mark. RJ Barrett over 15.5 points. He had no points in the first half. He did reach it. Got it in an OT. Kemba Walker, 3.5 assists. I thought I was going to get it with Kemba Walker. And I was surprised I didn't get it with him. Colin Sexton over 22.5 points, and I get that right. Darius Garland, another bet. Darius Garland over 25.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. Did not look good. But I had 12 assists in the fourth quarter, and I got that edge by 1. But actually by a half point. Jared Allen under 8.5 rebounds, and got that right. Ja Morant over 36.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. Got that right. Ja Morant was basically amazing last night. 31 points alone. Jaren Jackson Jr. under 17.5 points. I believe I got that right. I got Jaren Jackson Jr. over 5.5 rebounds. I got that right too. Joel Embiid over 28.5 points. That was under. Over 10.5 rebounds. That was under. I did not know he did not play in the fourth quarter. So if he did play in the fourth quarter, he maybe gotten. He had 22 when he was benched. He definitely would have gotten another 7 in the fourth quarter. Rebounds, not so sure, but points for sure. Tobias Harris over 1.5 3-point field goals, did not hit any. Brandon Ingram under 23.5 points, not reached that. He got 25. Jonas Valanciunas over 27.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. That was under. Devontae Graham over 15.5 points. I got that right. That was the only one for that game I got right. Phoenix Suns vs. Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic over 44.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. I was a half a point off. It was 44 total that Jokic got. That half point throws it off. Jokic over 11.5 rebounds. I was able to get that mark. Michael Porter Jr. under 6.5 rebounds. I got that right by half a point. Michael Porter Jr. had 6 rebounds. Devin Booker, under 27.5 points. I got that right. He played much better against Denver on the road last year than he did at home. Devin Booker, over 2.5 threes. I was a half point off, too. He hit 2 threes last night. Chris Paul, over 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. He had 29 total. I was a point off. So as you can tell, 4 of those props, I was off by a half a point last night. So a lot of these can go either way. The numbers, it's always, for some reason in gambling, it is very hard to get basically some of these props right. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to do something like this. I have fun doing it. I'm not going to have something up today. I'll have something up tomorrow for my viewers. I'll probably have something like every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And maybe on Sundays and Mondays, depending how I'm feeling. I don't usually write on Thursdays here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of time here. Thanks for tuning in to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and weekend here as well. I will be back on the air on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going over NFL Week 7 game recaps, NBA game recaps, NHL regular season game recaps, MLB postseason updates / World Series preview. My gambling with Glenn for Bettis also like you just had, like I had there. So to support my articles in the show, go to 12outsportsradio.com/sportinggoods. Again, 12outsportsradio.com/sportinggoods. We were live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. 12 Sports Quencher Sports Thursday, 12 Sports Quencher Sports Thursday. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.